There are moments in life, aren't there, when the pervasive noise simply vanishes. It's as if a grand symphony, once played so vibrantly around us, suddenly fades into an eerie silence. No more hurried footsteps echoing through the familiar halls of a home that once buzzed with life. No more random, unexpected phone calls filling the quiet air with fleeting conversations. No more plans instinctively including your name, your presence, your unique contribution. The constant hum of activity, the comforting murmur of human connection, the predictable rhythm of shared lives, all recede, leaving behind an unexpected hush. It's as if the world, with its relentless, indifferent turning, continues its grand cosmic dance. But now, it moves without you as a central figure, without your familiar rhythm in its intricate choreography. And in that profound, almost startling silence, a silence that can feel harsh in its starkness, yet paradoxically so deeply revealing, a singular, unsettling question begins to surface from the depths of our quieted minds. It's a question that, in our youth and even in our prime, we actively avoided, perhaps even feared to articulate. A question no one truly wants to ask, much less contemplate. What do I do now if there's no one left by my side? What becomes of me when the echoes are all that remain? It is a whisper of vulnerability, a tremor of uncertainty that touches the very core of our being when the world we knew shifts, and we find ourselves standing alone on a new, quiet stage. Here's a truth, often whispered in the quiet corners of our consciousness, rarely spoken aloud in the clamor of daily life. More often than not, old age isn't merely about a simple, straightforward loneliness. It is, more profoundly, about a hidden, unspoken abandonment. It is the subtle, gradual withdrawal of roles, of perceived necessity, of the familiar, comforting embrace of constant interaction. But what you, with your seasoned wisdom and resilient spirit, choose to do with that profound, often bewildering feeling of abandonment can make all the difference between merely growing old while passively waiting for something that may never come, and powerfully, consciously growing old by choosing to reclaim your agency, your purpose, your peace. This video, dear friends, is not designed to offer fleeting comfort or a gentle, superficial pat on the back. It isn't a soft lullaby to soothe your anxieties. On the contrary, it is a direct, firm, and profoundly necessary guide for those who are genuinely ready to face themselves without filters, without pretense, without the convenient distractions that once masked the quiet ache within. Today, I am honored to share with you 7 timeless keys drawn from the profound, enduring wisdom of Stoicism that will not only help you courageously cope with the vast landscape of solitude, but will ultimately, fundamentally, transform it into an inherent power that no one, absolutely no one, can ever take from you. This is not about regaining what was lost externally, but discovering an unbreakable strength within. And here's a subtle heads up, a quiet hint of the profound insights yet to unfold. The 7th and final lesson, the culmination of this journey, might just completely redefine how you perceive your own inherent, immutable worth, even if, in this quiet season of life, there's no one else physically present to confirm it for you. It speaks to a dignity that is not granted by others, but affirmed by oneself. I am Gabriel, and if you find yourself here listening to these words, it's not because you're merely seeking fleeting entertainment or a momentary distraction. No, you are here because you are actively, earnestly seeking direction, a compass for the soul in uncharted waters. You are seeking clarity, wisdom, and a pathway to inner resilience. I invite you to stay with me until the very end, For this isn't just a video. It is, in its deepest essence, a profound wake-up call, an invitation to awaken to your own enduring strength. If you find these insights resonate with the quiet wisdom of your own experience, and you wish to continue nurturing a mind that is strong, peaceful, and truly happy, I encourage you to subscribe to the Stoic Philosophy channel. Here, we explore the timeless principles that empower us to navigate life's challenges with grace and inner fortitude. By joining our community, you'll find further guidance and deeper understanding to fortify your spirit and embrace a life filled with purpose, regardless of external circumstances. Your journey towards inner tranquility and enduring happiness continues here. Chào bạn, tôi đã mở rộng phần Presentation of Problem Challenge theo yêu cầu giữ nguyên dòng văn triết lý, trầm ấm và phù hợp với đối tượng khán giả. Presentation of Problem Challenge, dòng sâu lắng, đặt vấn đề trực diện nhưng vẫn gợi mở và cảm thông. Have you ever truly paused, perhaps in the quiet of a late afternoon or the stillness of a dawn chorus, and profoundly wondered if this pervasive silence that now envelops you was always, in some subtle way, present? Or was it merely that, in the vibrant symphony of your earlier years, you instinctively and expertly drowned it out? Drowned it out with the relentless hum of busy tasks, the constant comforting chatter of other people's voices, children, partners, friends, colleagues, and the ceaseless, often self-imposed noise of myriad obligations and responsibilities. We construct our lives, brick by careful brick, around these external sounds, these vital connections, these demands on our time and energy. They become the very fabric of our days, defining our purpose, giving shape to our moments. We are needed, we are busy, we are connected. And in that ceaseless engagement, the inner quiet, the true self, often takes a back seat, a passenger in its own unfolding story. But then, inevitably, old age arrives. It doesn't burst forth like a sudden storm. Rather, it often descends with the gentle, persistent inevitability of twilight. And as it settles, slowly, gracefully, everything that once kept you in relentless outward motion begins to decelerate, to gently halt, one by one. The children grow up and forge their own vibrant paths. Their calls become less frequent, their visits less spontaneous. Friends, too, face the inexorable march of time. Some move away, some grow frail, and tragically, some simply fade from our lives, leaving behind only cherished memories and a quiet ache. The demanding roles that once defined your days, the tireless caregiver, the dedicated professional, the cornerstone of your family, gradually diminish or are perhaps lovingly passed on to others. The grand stage of life where you once played such a vital central role slowly empties. And in that profound deceleration, in that newfound stillness, what truly remains isn't an echoing emptiness, a desolate void. No, what remains, often startling in its clarity and intimacy, is your own voice, waiting patiently, persistently, for you to finally listen. It's the authentic self, stripped bare of external definitions, patiently awaiting recognition. This is the unvarnished truth of your being, finally given the space to breathe, to speak, to assert its presence. And yet, profoundly, it hurts. Because that silence, so raw and unfiltered, does not arrive gently, like a soft, comforting whisper or a peaceful, earned reprieve. On the contrary, it often descends with the undeniable weight of a sentence, a decree, almost as if life itself, after bestowing so much, after demanding so much of your boundless energy, your tireless dedication, your endless love, is finally, irrevocably collecting the perceived price for having existed so profoundly, so completely for others. It can feel like an unfair reckoning, a solitary toll for a life that was often a ceaseless act of giving, of nurturing, of holding together the intricate threads of other people's existences. The silence feels like an obligation, a consequence, rather than a gift. It can sting with the bitter taste of being unneeded, overlooked, perhaps even forgotten, by the very world you helped to build and sustain. This, my friends, is the heart of the challenge we bravely face in this video. This is the first profound point I wish to share with you today, to articulate with clarity and compassion. The initial, often painful, step in navigating this silent season of life. We must first, with courage and clear-eyed honesty, accept that this silence isn't a punishment, it is a doorway. A doorway, perhaps initially shrouded in shadow and uncertainty, but a doorway nonetheless. A portal to your deepest inner voice, to the very core of your resilient spirit. This is not about accepting defeat. It is about recognizing a powerful shift, an invitation to a different, perhaps more profound, chapter of your story. And it begins not with a lament for what is lost, but with a quiet yet firm acknowledgement of what remains, the unwavering presence of your own magnificent self. It is in this quiet confrontation that true strength begins to emerge, not despite the silence, but often because of it. 7 pillars of self-reclamation. Having acknowledged the profound silence that now surrounds us, and having dared to glimpse the true reflection in its mirror, our journey truly begins. This section, Navigating the Inner Landscape, is a profound exploration into the practical wisdom of Stoicism, offering not just coping mechanisms, but transformative pathways. We delve into the very essence of self-reclamation, understanding that this period of life, far from being an ending, is a powerful invitation to rebuild, redefine, and rediscover. Each of the following 6 chapters will illuminate a crucial principle, guiding you from mere survival to a vibrant, dignified existence. They are not abstract theories, but actionable insights designed to fortify your mind, honor your body, and reclaim your purpose, even when the world outside seems to have quieted. We will dissect the illusions that bind us, embrace the truths that liberate us, and cultivate the practices that ground us firmly in the present. This is where the wisdom truly becomes personal, where the philosophical transforms into the practical, offering concrete tools to sculpt a life of meaning and resilience, irrespective of external validation or companionship. Prepare to peel back the layers of expectation and societal definition to unearth the unshakable core of your own worth and to forge a path forward that is authentically and powerfully your own. Chapter 1. Accept silence as a doorway to self-discovery. I don't utter this as a cheap comfort or a pretty phrase to sugarcoat sadness, a fleeting balm for a deep wound. No. I say it because it is the kind of profound truth that simultaneously hurts in its initial confrontation and then liberates you with its ultimate clarity. The loneliness you may feel now can indeed seem like a bottomless pit, a vast, echoing chasm that swallows light and hope. The vibrant symphony of family life might have faded, the children, once so intimately entwined with your daily rhythm, call less frequently, absorbed in their own burgeoning lives. Friends, too, face the relentless currents of time. Some grow frail, some move to distant shores, and tragically, some simply disappear from our immediate lives, leaving behind only the ghosts of shared laughter and a quiet, persistent ache in the heart. And in the midst of it all, in this newfound stillness, it can feel as though the world, once so vibrant and demanding, has somehow utterly forgotten you. The bustling theatre of life seems to have turned its back, leaving you alone on a dimly lit stage. But let me tell you something vital, something profoundly liberating. That very forgetfulness, if you truly gaze upon it with open eyes and a courageous heart, might just be a profound gift in disguise. It is a paradoxical blessing, an unexpected opportunity cloaked in perceived loss. Because when there's genuinely no one left to distract you from yourself, when the external clamor finally subsides and the endless demands of others cease to dictate your moments, that is precisely when you can finally, truly see yourself with crystalline clarity. It's as if a dense fog has lifted, revealing the landscape of your own soul, unblemished by external projections. Imagine for a moment, if you will, that your life has been a majestic, ancient temple. For years, decades even, it was a bustling, vibrant place, filled to its rafters with countless visitors, children with their boundless energy and insistent needs, partners with their shared dreams and intimate demands, myriad responsibilities, heavy and unyielding, commitments eagerly made and faithfully kept, and the silent, often crushing weight of unspoken expectations, both your own and those projected onto you. Some entered this temple with overflowing love, showering you with affection and joy. Others came with relentless demands, draining your spirit with their incessant needs. Many, sadly, entered and exited without even a hint of asking permission, leaving their footprints and sometimes their debris behind. They all left something, an indelible imprint, a lingering echo within your sacred space. But now, in this quiet season, that temple, once so teeming with life, stands beautifully, profoundly empty of its external visitors. And you, for the very first time in perhaps your entire existence, have the serene, unparalleled chance to walk through its hallowed halls without rushing, without the press of external urgency. You can listen intently to the lingering echoes that remain, the quiet whispers of your own history. You can gently, meticulously begin to heal the ancient wounds etched into its very foundations, the forgotten pains and unspoken resentments. And most importantly, you can rediscover the sacred, untouched essence within your own being, the divine spark that has always resided there, patiently waiting for your return. This, my friends, is not abandonment. This is a profound, destined meeting with the deepest, most authentic part of yourself. Marcus Aurelius, that emperor-philosopher with his timeless wisdom, penned these profound words in his personal journal. Everything you hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything you see is a perspective, not the truth. That powerful, deceptively simple phrase takes on an entirely new, potent meaning when you find yourself living through such profound silence. Because then, and only then, do you truly realize that many of the voices that once guided you, that shaped your choices and defined your path, were merely echoes. Echoes of societal fear, of perceived duty, of suffocating social expectation. They were not your authentic voice. But now that those external, often misleading voices have finally receded, you can, perhaps for the very first time, finally hear your own. And maybe, just maybe, what your own voice, the voice of your deepest wisdom, has to say is far, far more valuable, more authentic, and more profoundly guiding than anything you have ever heard before from the outside world. It is the compass you always possessed, now finally free to point your true north. I am not speaking from abstract theory, from dusty philosophical texts alone. I am speaking from what I have personally witnessed, from what I have read in the heartfelt, often tear-stained letters that arrive on this channel, sent by souls seeking solace and direction. I've seen the powerful transformations, women who felt utterly lost, adrift when they were no longer needed, no longer indispensable by others. Women who had built their entire identities around their utility to family, to community, to career. But who, paradoxically, ended up finding themselves truly, profoundly, when they finally understood they no longer needed anyone's external validation to feel worthy, to feel complete. One such woman, her words resonating with profound truth, wrote to me recently, "I thought I was alone, but I wasn't. I was with myself, and I didn't know how much I needed me." That simple yet profoundly eloquent sentence holds a powerful universal truth, because many times we perceive ourselves as abandoned, desolate, when in reality we are being gently, lovingly returned to ourselves, to the source of our own being. Accepting silence doesn't mean giving up, throwing in the towel, or resigning yourself to a diminished existence. Quite the opposite. It means courageously recognizing that a new, vibrant life, a life brimming with potential, truly begins when the external noise finally ends. And that new life, profoundly, does not depend on others miraculously coming back, on the phone ringing again with insistent demands, or on new companions materializing to fill the void. No. It depends entirely on you choosing to powerfully move forward, to engage with this new chapter with intention and purpose. Perhaps in the relentless rush of earlier life, you never truly had the time, the sacred space, or even the quiet permission to ask yourself with unvarnished honesty, who am I truly without everyone else's definitions and demands? This, dear friend, is that sacred moment. This is your inviolable space, and the very silence you feared so much, the quietude that once felt like an empty threat, might just be the glorious, liberating beginning of true, unwavering companionship with yourself. Chapter 2. Rewriting your narrative of self-worth. If silence, truly embraced, serves as the sacred doorway to your inner voice, then the immediate, courageous next step is daring to name, with unvarnished honesty, what that voice wants to tell you, even without anyone else listening. This is the profound act of authorship over your own being. Because being alone, physically isolated, is one profound experience, but feeling utterly useless, deeply irrelevant, like you possess no narrative of your own beyond the roles you once played, that, my friends, is something entirely, devastatingly different. That is where so many individuals in this quiet season of life tragically get stuck, caught in the insidious grip of feeling that their value, their very essence, only mattered as long as someone else desperately needed them, as long as they served an external purpose. But what then happens when there's truly no one left to diligently care for, to tirelessly support, to painstakingly please? What happens when the external validation disappears and the mirror reflects only you? That, precisely, is when a silent yet profoundly intense struggle begins within. A struggle between who you once were, defined by external roles, and who you still possess the undeniable inherent power to profoundly become. We've reached the second crucial transformative key point of this video, and it is this: simple yet revolutionary. Rewrite your story without external witnesses, but with absolute, unyielding honesty. This isn't about crafting a narrative for public consumption, or because you owe anyone a lengthy explanation, a justification for your existence. No. It is because fundamentally you desperately need to face yourself truthfully with compassionate yet unflinching honesty before it is truly too late, before the weight of unexamined assumptions calcifies into an unyielding burden. For years, perhaps for the entire span of your adult life, you were meticulously defined by the roles others so readily bestowed upon you, or that circumstances compelled you to adopt. Mother, wife, devoted caregiver, tireless worker, community pillar. These were the labels, the hats you wore with such grace and dedication. And all of that mattered, profoundly so. Of course it did. Your contributions were real, your efforts immense. But many times, if we are truly honest with ourselves, those roles felt more like binding obligations, heavy, unyielding chains of expectation, rather than liberating choices, freely made expressions of your deepest desires. And when those roles, those external definitions are gone, when the stage empties and the applause fades, you are left alone in front of the mirror, vulnerable yet powerful, wondering with a quiet desperation if there is anything at all beyond those transient titles. The fundamental root of this pervasive problem, the insidious trap, is that we so often and so tragically confuse mere presence with genuine recognition. We equate being seen with being valued, being needed with being loved. For decades, you simply did what needed to be done, tirelessly, instinctively. You woke before dawn. You cooked countless meals. You offered boundless comfort, a steady hand, a listening ear. You kept quiet, suppressing your own needs, your own voice for the sake of harmony, for the sake of others, and perhaps without even fully realizing the profound depth of this silent expectation, you waited patiently, perpetually, for someone, anyone, to truly acknowledge it, to validate your efforts, to see the immense sacrifice beneath the surface. But recognition, dear friends, in its truest, most validating form, does not always come, not because you don't profoundly deserve it, you do, immensely so, but because life, in its profound, often brutal indifference, often does not repay with fairness what was given with such boundless, unconditional love. The ledger of human relationships is rarely balanced by external accounts. Stoicism, in its unyielding, profound wisdom, offers a stark yet liberating truth here. We cannot control what others think of us, what they say, or how they choose to acknowledge us. We can only fundamentally control our own actions and our own judgments, our internal responses to external events. Marcus Aurelius, that emperor-philosopher who navigated a world of immense power and pervasive suffering, put it with stark, powerful clarity. Do what you must without expecting applause. That profound lesson, so intellectually sound, so logically irrefutable, stings deeply, painfully, when it hits the tender, longing heart. It challenges the very core of our human desire for validation, and yet, paradoxically, There is something profoundly, utterly freeing about no longer needing an audience, no longer craving applause. Because then, and only then, your story isn't something you meticulously write and perform for others to read, to approve of, to judge. It is something you bravely, authentically write solely for yourself, for the deepest recesses of your own soul. That is precisely where a new, profound kind of dignity powerfully emerges. The dignity of seeing yourself without emotional makeup, without adornment, without the need for anyone else to cheer you on, to validate your existence. This is self-acceptance in its purest, most potent form. Perhaps your life has been exceptionally hard, a tapestry woven with threads of difficult choices that were not truly, deeply, authentically yours, but rather imposed by circumstance or obligation. But now, in this quiet, powerful moment, they are yours to reclaim, to redefine. And that, profoundly, changes absolutely everything. When you fail, when you hesitate, when you actively resist the crucial act of rewriting your story, the past, unexamined and unchallenged, clings to you like a shirt that no longer fits, tight, uncomfortable, suffocating. You find yourself trapped in a relentless loop, unconsciously repeating old wounds, replaying conversations that never transpired in reality but haunt your mind, nursing unspoken resentments, defending versions of events meticulously written by others, or staying silent out of a misplaced, self-sacrificing respect for people who fundamentally did not know how to genuinely care for you, to truly see your worth. And that, over time, relentlessly, inexorably wears you down. It drains your very mind, hardens the tender tissues of your body, and sickens your very soul. Because nothing, dear friends, nothing is more utterly exhausting, more spiritually depleting than carrying a life, a narrative, that no longer truly represents you, that no longer aligns with your authentic self. The good news, the profoundly liberating news, is that you don't need a grand stage, a public forum, or an external audience to courageously rewrite your story. All you need, fundamentally, is silence, the very silence you might have feared. A humble piece of paper, a pen, and the unwavering courage to tell yourself the unvarnished truth. Ask yourself these powerful, probing questions and sit with their answers. What would you genuinely do differently if no one, absolutely no one, judged you? What part of your unspoken story, your hidden struggles, your quiet triumphs, truly deserves to be told in new, vibrant, liberating words, words that you choose? What decisions, perhaps once made out of fear or obligation, could you now honor, embrace, or even celebrate, instead of perpetually hide in shame or regret? These are not small questions, trivial curiosities. No, these are profound keys, powerful instruments of self-discovery, and you, uniquely and entirely, are the only one who can use them, who can turn them in the lock of your own understanding. Rewriting your story doesn't mean erasing what you lived, denying your past, or pretending experiences didn't happen. It means, rather, reading it again, gently, courageously, with different eyes. Eyes that do not judge, do not punish, do not feel shame, eyes imbued with compassion and wisdom. And from that new, liberating reading, from that profound act of self-understanding, deciding what glorious chapter you want to write next, what new path you choose to forge, what new purpose you choose to embrace, even if no one else is watching, even if no one else will ever read it. Because the deepest truth, the most enduring truth, is this: The only person who truly, desperately needs to understand your story, to truly accept it, is you. And once that profound internal understanding happens, once you reclaim your narrative, everything else, all external approval, all fleeting recognition, all the noisy clamor of the world, loses its power, loses its hold. Because you no longer need external approval or forced company or long-delayed recognition to validate your existence. You just need the quiet, unshakable certainty that your life, even in profound silence, is still undeniably yours. And it still profoundly matters. Your story is still unfolding, and you are its powerful author. Chapter 3. From passive waiting to active creation. If you've made it this far with me, you already grasp profoundly that silence can be a powerful, revealing mirror, and that your own unique story desperately needs to be told, to be owned, even if there's no one physically present to hear its every nuance. But knowing that truth, merely acknowledging it intellectually, is simply not enough. Because even if you courageously begin to see yourself with new, discerning eyes unclouded by past expectations, if you continue to wait passively, indefinitely, for something external to magically change on its own, for a deus ex machina to suddenly appear and alter your circumstances, you will inevitably, tragically, end up right back where you started. You'll remain tethered to the familiar yet unproductive patterns of the past. That is precisely why the next step in this profound journey is so absolutely crucial, so utterly indispensable, because without it, you will remain stuck, perhaps without even fully realizing the invisible chains that bind you to the same place, the same emotional landscape. We've reached the third pivotal point in this video, a moment of profound shift, and it is this: powerful in its simplicity, turn waiting into creation, not lament. I say it plainly, without equivocation, without softening the edges, because the truth, though sometimes stark, is always liberating. Far too many older women and men, after decades of relentless doing and giving, spend their precious finite days living like desolate, empty train stations, perpetually waiting for something, anything, to arrive that will magically give them back their lost sense of meaning, their bygone purpose. They wait, endlessly, for a longed-for phone call, a much-anticipated visit from distant loved ones, a simple, kind gesture of appreciation that, heartbreakingly, often never comes. And while they wait, immobilized by expectation, paralyzed by a passive hope, life, vibrant and fleeting, inexorably passes them by, moment by precious moment. There is no greater tragedy, no deeper sorrow, no more profound waste than spending your invaluable days dreaming about what should happen, what could have been, instead of powerfully, consciously, doing something with what is already, undeniably, right here, right now, in front of you. The present moment, unobserved, unengaged with, slips away, forever lost. The mind, that intricate and powerful instrument, when it is not consciously occupied with the exhilarating act of creating, of building, of exploring, becomes tragically obsessed with repetition. It replays old wounds, worn-out narratives of perceived slights, endless loops of conversations that never actually happened but haunt the mental landscape, and nurses unspoken resentments like cherished, bitter keepsakes. That relentless, constant mental repetition, that churning over of past pains and unfulfilled desires, inexorably wears you down emotionally like a slow, insidious acid corroding the spirit. And over time, it cultivates a pervasive, debilitating sense of uselessness, a feeling of utter futility that utterly drains your spirit, leaving you depleted, a shadow of your former self. The Stoic approach here is elegantly simple, yet profoundly radical, utterly transformative in its implication. Make each and every day an opportunity to build something, to create something, no matter how small, how seemingly insignificant, or how invisible its immediate result. Marcus Aurelius, that emperor-philosopher, understood this deeply. He diligently wrote in his personal journal every single morning, not for others to read, not for the future generations to scrutinize, but primarily to bring profound order, discipline, and clarity to his own restless soul, to sculpt his inner world. You too possess this inherent, boundless capacity to create. You can choose to write, to put thoughts to paper, to give form to your inner landscape. You can choose to plant something green and vibrant, a living testament to growth and renewal, nurturing life with your own hands. You can bravely, joyfully learn a new skill, something that ignites curiosity and expands your world, whether it's painting, learning a new language, or mastering a new craft. You can move your body with conscious, deliberate purpose, feeling the strength in your limbs, the rhythm of your breath. The grandiosity or the public visibility of the result does not matter in the slightest. What profoundly matters, what is utterly transformative, is that you consciously, decisively stop waiting and profoundly start living your time, investing it, shaping it, claiming it as your own. The difference, dear friends, is immense, truly staggering. Think for a moment of a woman sitting perpetually by the window, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon, endlessly waiting, her spirit slowly dimming with each passing moment of unfulfilled expectation. Now, contrast her with another woman living through the exact same challenging circumstances, experiencing the same external quietude, yet who consciously chooses, bravely and deliberately, to go for a brisk, invigorating walk, to take a deep, cleansing breath of fresh air, to truly notice the subtle change in the crisp morning air, the shifting light, the unique song of a bird. The first remains frozen, a prisoner of hope for something entirely beyond her control, a victim of circumstance. The second, however, moves vibrantly, purposefully, within her own rich, unfolding present, actively engaging with the reality of her life. This is not a mere abstract metaphor. It is a profound, daily, empowering choice that reshapes not just your activities, but the very essence of how you experience your own existence. Because if you do not consciously, proactively give your days direction, a guiding star, your days will inevitably end up carrying you aimlessly, like a leaf adrift on a boundless, indifferent current. The soul, that deepest part of our being, needs movement, needs purpose, needs flow. And that movement doesn't always have to be grand, external, or physically demanding. Sometimes it is enough to read a single page from a book that stirs something profound within you. To lovingly, mindfully, prepare a fragrant cup of tea as a sacred, intentional ritual, savoring each sip. To meticulously tidy a small, neglected corner of your cherished home with soulful music playing softly in the background, transforming chaos into order. Creation does not need a grand stage, a public exhibition, or external validation. It simply needs your profound, conscious presence, your willingness to engage and shape the moment. If these words, these insights, have resonated deep within your being, if they have struck a chord of recognition and possibility, I invite you, humbly yet earnestly, to subscribe to this channel and to gently hit the like button. Not to boost numbers, not for superficial metrics, but so this community, a collective of souls truly seeking clarity rather than mere comfort, can continue to grow, to thrive, to support one another in this shared journey. Tell me in the comments below where you are watching from, your location in this vast tapestry of humanity, and then, bravely, write the powerful, transformative phrase, "I stop waiting, I start creating." It is a simple statement, yet a powerfully potent one, a declarative act of self-authorship, because whoever writes it is already, in that very moment, making a profoundly different, courageous choice. And please, stay with me, for the next lessons are not just necessary, they are urgent, vital for your ongoing well-being. And the final one, the seventh key, might help you to truly, unequivocally understand why, even in the deepest, most profound loneliness, your inherent worth does not magically disappear, does not diminish. On the contrary, it powerfully, brilliantly reveals itself, shining brighter than ever before. Chapter 4. Honoring your body as a sacred vessel. If the act of turning passive waiting into powerful, intentional creation is a profound way to reclaim your inherent agency and purpose, then the very next crucial step has everything to do with how you fundamentally, respectfully inhabit the physical body you are creating from. For there is absolutely no lasting use in waking up your brilliant mind, in igniting your creative spirit, if you are still living, day in and day out, inside a physical body you carry like a burdensome weight, a vessel filled with silent resentment for its perceived betrayals, profound neglect from years of inattention, or weary resignation to its inevitable decline. This internal disconnect, this profound disharmony between mind and body, is a common yet deeply damaging trap. And that, dear friends, brings us directly to the fourth crucial point of this video, a truth that asks for tender yet unwavering attention. Make your body a sacred space, even if no one else sees it or celebrates it. That phrase, sacred space, might initially feel uncomfortable, even jarring to some, because for many older individuals there has been a lifelong conditioning to see their bodies almost exclusively in terms of function or fleeting appearance. When they were younger, the body was often seen primarily as a practical tool, an instrument for vigorous working, for tirelessly caring for others, for attracting partners, for demonstrating vitality and youth. But as they gracefully, or sometimes less gracefully, aged, this perception often undergoes a subtle yet devastating shift. The body can transform, in the mind's eye, into a perceived burden, slow in its movements, fragile in its constitution, constantly aching with minor complaints, and tragically often undervalued in a youth-obsessed culture. That insidious shift in perception, often silent and deeply internalized, creates a devastating psychological trap that very few dare to name, much less confront. The aging body, the very vessel of your existence, becomes profoundly invisible, not just to the external world, but tragically, even to the person living within it. This profound invisibility, this gradual detachment from one's own physical self, doesn't happen overnight, like a sudden cataclysm. It creeps in slowly, subtly, like a persistent morning fog that gradually obscures the familiar landscape. First, you might find yourself stopping to look at yourself in the mirror with intention, with curiosity, with acceptance. The spontaneous glance becomes rote, mechanical, or altogether avoided. Then You might notice yourself beginning to move only when absolutely necessary, your movements becoming hesitant, grudging, rather than fluid and joyful. You might start eating whatever is convenient, whatever is easily accessible, rather than what truly nourishes and sustains you. Sleep patterns become erratic, disturbed. You begin to ignore the quiet warning signs your body sends, the aches, the persistent fatigue, the subtle shifts in energy. And before you truly know it, without conscious intent, you begin treating your body like a worn-out utilitarian object, useful only as long as it doesn't overtly bother you, a mere vehicle to carry your mind. But your body, dear friends, in its profound wisdom and intricate design, does not forget that neglect. It responds inevitably with signals, with persistent pain, with chronic fatigue that saps your vitality, with a deep, unsettling disconnection between your physical and emotional self. And most devastatingly of all, it responds with a profound, pervasive loss of vitality, that inherent life force that makes days vibrant and meaningful. Because your body is so much more than a mere machine, a collection of parts. It is the sacred, intricate space where you intimately experience the sacred, the simple joys of being present, the raw truth of existence. It is your direct, tangible link to the here and now. The fundamental mistake, the dangerous misconception, is believing that taking diligent, conscious care of yourself at this stage of life no longer truly matters. That since physical deterioration in some form is seemingly inevitable, there's no rational point in paying attention, in investing effort. But that, my friends, is a dangerous, soul-sapping lie. And it is dangerous, not for your fleeting vanity or superficial appearance, but for your enduring dignity, your profound self-respect. The body you inhabit today isn't what it once was, of course not. The athletic prowess, the youthful vigor, the unblemished skin, these may have changed, but it is still undeniably your home. It is the only vessel through which you experience the world, through which you feel, breathe, and exist. And every conscious act of profound respect toward it, how you lovingly feed it with nourishing foods, how you gently and purposefully move it, how you allow it to deeply, restoratively rest, is a powerful, silent way of telling yourself, unequivocally, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I still profoundly matter. This is a declaration of self-worth that no one else needs to hear, only you. Stoicism, in its essence, never glorified the physical body, never championed hedonism or excessive indulgence. But crucially, it did not dismiss it either. Epictetus, the former slave who became a profound Stoic teacher, saw the body as an instrument, a tool for virtue, something to care for diligently, not to worship vainly, but most certainly not to ignore or neglect. That's where the profound key lies, the delicate balance. Caring for your body isn't shallow vanity, a superficial pursuit of youth. It's a deep, essential connection to your own being, an act of profound self-respect. When you fall into the insidious trap of neglecting yourself because it supposedly isn't worth it anymore, because no one is watching or appreciating, you are unknowingly sending a destructive, self-sabotaging message to your deepest self. That you only deserve care, attention, and tenderness if others are watching, if others desperately need you, if others magically recognize your efforts. But you are not here to be seen by others as your primary purpose. You are here, fundamentally, to consciously, fully inhabit yourself, to dwell within your own being with grace and dignity. And if you do not inhabit yourself with profound respect, with tender compassion, and with unwavering commitment, no one else, no one at all, will ever truly do it for you in the way that matters most. It's not about embarking on intense, grueling routines that leave you exhausted, or adopting strict, joyless diets that strip pleasure from your days, or chasing a phantom youth that no longer gracefully fits the reality of your years. No, it's about gently, yet firmly, reconnecting with your body as something intrinsically sacred, something worthy of reverence. It's about feeling the earth beneath your feet as you walk, not as an automatic motion, but as a conscious act of grounding. It's about feeling the warm, cleansing water as you bathe, not as a mundane chore, but as a ritual of purification and care. It's about savoring your deep, vital breath as you peacefully rest, not as an unconscious bodily function, but as a conscious act of being present. These are not mere automatic motions, but conscious, intentional acts of self-care imbued with meaning. The cost of ignoring this truth, of allowing this profound disconnect to persist, is deep and far-reaching. You don't just suffer physically. The aches become more persistent, the energy less available. You lose that essential, visceral connection that gives life its most fundamental meaning, the joy of simply being in your own skin. You become a stranger to yourself, a mind adrift from its physical anchor. And when that happens, sadness grows heavier, like a leaden cloak that refuses to be shed. The days feel dimmer, muted, like a perpetually overcast sky. Your spirit slows down, almost to a halt, losing its natural effervescence. But if you bravely, consciously, make your body a sacred space, a temple of your own being, even if no one else celebrates it with fanfare, even if no one is physically watching, then you begin to experience a new, profound kind of presence within yourself. Not a presence cultivated to be liked, or to be seen, or to gain approval, but a presence cultivated simply to live with the dignity only you can truly give yourself. Because every step you take with deep awareness, every nourishing meal you choose with genuine care, every night you choose to rest well, is a silent, powerful affirmation that your life, even in its quietude, still possesses immense, inherent worth. And at this venerable stage of life, that quiet internal affirmation, that profound self-respect, is more powerful, more empowering than any external applause or fleeting recognition could ever be. It is the foundation of enduring peace. Chapter 5. Discerning true companionship from emotional drains. We've reached the fifth pivotal point in this profound journey of self-reclamation, and it needs to be articulated with absolute clarity, unequivocally, and without any hesitation whatsoever. Learn, with discerning wisdom, to distinguish between true, reciprocal companionship and insidious emotional consumption. This distinction is paramount, particularly at this venerable stage in life, because what truly hurts the most, what causes the deepest, most persistent anguish, isn't always the raw, aching feeling of loneliness itself. It is, far more often, the profound, insidious confusion between genuine, unconditional affection and relationships that, beneath a veneer of familiarity, only exist because someone desperately wants something, needs something, takes something from you. And that deeply misleading confusion, that entanglement in imbalanced dynamics, can drain your vital life force far more completely, far more devastatingly than any clear, unambiguous abandonment ever could. Why, you might ask, is this distinction so critical? Because unconsciously, almost instinctively, you continue to give away your invaluable time, your precious energy, your undivided attention to people who are not truly there out of genuine reciprocal love, out of mutual respect, but out of mere self-serving convenience. These are the individuals who miraculously show up only when they have a pressing problem, a personal crisis to offload, when they urgently need a substantial favor, a helping hand, a comforting ear, when there's simply no one else, no other source of support left to turn to. They are the fair-weather friends, the convenience companions, but when you yourself are in deep need, when you long for a kind word, a comforting presence, a simple visit, a genuine gesture of reciprocal care, a moment of true empathy, silence, chilling and profound, is often your only answer. The phone remains quiet, the doorbell unheard. This critical mistake, this subtle slide into imbalanced relationships, doesn't happen all at once, like a sudden, jarring betrayal. It starts subtly, insidiously, with a deep-seated, often unconscious need within you. The need to feel useful, to perpetually be needed. The powerful, ingrained desire to desperately keep a fragile bond alive, even if it's one-sided. The desperate hope to believe against mounting evidence that you are still an integral, indispensable part of something larger, something that gives your life external purpose. You take phone calls that are nothing more than endless complaint sessions, a relentless monologue of their woes. You receive visits that leave you feeling more utterly exhausted, more spiritually depleted than genuinely refreshed or grateful. You accept affection, or what passes for it, with clear, often unspoken conditions, a love that only flows if you meticulously meet their specific expectations, if you cater to their needs without question. And you allow it, consciously or unconsciously, because you tell yourself the comforting, yet profoundly damaging lie that something is better than nothing. The fear of solitude, of absolute emptiness, can be a powerful motivator. But that, dear friends, is simply not true. It is a dangerous fallacy, a seductive illusion, because that something, that meager conditional connection, slowly, relentlessly wears you down, corrodes your spirit, and diminishes your sense of self-worth. It makes you feel profoundly guilty, a sense of deep obligation if you ever dare to set a healthy boundary, to say no, to prioritize your own well-being. And worse, far worse, it subtly convinces you over time that you don't truly deserve a healthier, more reciprocal, more genuinely loving kind of relationship. Staying locked in these types of emotionally consumptive relationships comes at an extraordinarily high price. Not just emotionally, though the toll on your spirit is immense. It drains your very life force, your precious vital energy, leaving you depleted, resentful, and exhausted. It makes you distrustful, cynical about genuine connection, and it fosters a dangerous, debilitating dependency on people who are not genuinely choosing you out of love and respect, but quietly, subtly using you for their own ends. And that kind of emotional dependency, particularly in later life, when your reserves might naturally be lower, can be absolutely devastating, profoundly damaging, because you no longer possess the same boundless capacity to recover what others relentlessly take from you. Your resilience, though still present, may not be as quick to rebound. You simply cannot keep giving away the precious little you have left, the dwindling reserves of your time, energy, and emotional bandwidth to people who do not know how to receive it with genuine gratitude, with mutual respect, or who are incapable of reciprocating in kind. The respect you so deeply need and inherently deserve will not miraculously return, will not flow back to you until you bravely, decisively stop being useful to someone else's self-serving agenda. You must become unavailable for exploitation, however subtle. And if you do not break away from these toxic patterns in time, what you tragically lose isn't just your dignity, your self-respect. It's your invaluable, fleeting chance to create a sacred space of your own, a sanctuary where you can finally heal, truly heal, and rebuild your life on healthier foundations. Now, changing this deeply ingrained pattern, this often lifelong habit of self-sacrifice for the sake of others' needs, is certainly not easy. It requires immense courage and unwavering resolve, but it is profoundly possible. And it begins with one liberating, irrefutable truth. You deserve mutual, reciprocal relationships, connections built on genuine affection, respect, and give and take, not one-sided contracts thinly disguised as love or familial obligation. You are not here to rescue anyone from their own choices, their own responsibilities. You are not obligated to relentlessly keep holding up relationships, to be the perpetual emotional anchor, purely out of a crippling fear of being alone. Because true solitude, the kind you consciously choose in profound peace, the quiet space you create for yourself, will always, always be more dignified, more enriching than a manipulative, emotionally draining, or conditional kind of company. It is a sanctuary, not a prison. The mindset you need to adopt is simple, yet revolutionary in its implications. Your time, your attention, and your energy are sacred, invaluable resources. They are not to be begged for, not to be indiscriminately loaned out, or carelessly given away to anyone who will not cherish them, who will not care for them with profound respect. If someone truly wants to be a part of your life, if they value your presence, let them courageously show it with their consistent actions, their genuine effort, their mutual contribution. And if not, if they continue to be takers rather than givers, let them go. Not with bitter hate, not with anger or resentment, but with crystal clear clarity, with a quiet strength of purpose. I know saying this can sting, can cause profound emotional pain, especially when the relationships involved are with children, grandchildren, or people you love deeply, intimately. The bonds of family are powerful, often unbreakable. But love, dear friends, even the deepest familial love, does not, cannot justify constant, self-annihilating self-abandonment. You were not born to be endlessly available, a boundless emotional resource for others to exploit. You were born to truly live, to experience your own unique existence, to flourish in your own right. And if you are perpetually surrounded by people who only come around when it perfectly suits their needs, when they require something from you, you are not truly living. You are being gently, perhaps even affectionately, used, and used nonetheless. That's why if there's one thing, one single, powerful thing you can do today to reclaim your autonomy, it is this. Take a quiet moment in the sanctity of your own space to examine your relationships closely, unflinchingly. Hold each one up to the light of truth. Ask yourself what they genuinely bring into your life, what true nourishment they provide to your spirit, what mutual joy or support they offer. And then decide with courage and without fear of what others might think, which ones are truly worth your precious time, your dwindling energy, and which ones, for the sake of your own well-being and dignity, no longer are. Because respect, profound self-respect, is simply not up for negotiation, not even with the ones you love the very most. Your well-being is paramount. Chapter 6. Cultivating grounding rituals for meaningful days. After bravely taking the monumental step of breaking free from the relationships that only drained your vital energy, from the subtle yet relentless emotional consumption, there often comes a moment, a palpable space of profound emptiness. It's that point, after the storm of decision, when the air clears, and you might find yourself asking, with a quiet yet profound uncertainty, now what do I do with my days? What fills this vast, echoing space that remains? Because it's one thing, a powerful one, to declare with conviction, I no longer want relationships that exhaust me, that diminish me. And something entirely different, something far more challenging, to truly live in the expansive silence that remains when you stop living for the expectations, the demands, the approval of others. This, dear friends, is precisely where many older adults, having made the courageous decision to clear their lives of toxicity, unfortunately get stuck. They courageously cut out the toxic, the draining, the unreciprocated, but they tragically don't know how to purposefully, meaningfully fill the sacred space that it leaves behind. The void, once occupied by external demands, now feels intimidating in its openness. That is precisely why we have arrived at the sixth crucial point in this video, a cornerstone of sustainable well-being. Create rituals that profoundly ground you in the present and imbue your days with deep, resonant, personal meaning. And I am not speaking here of empty routines, of mundane habits performed merely to kill time, to passively fill the hours until oblivion, until the day ends. I am speaking rather of intentional, conscious, even sacred acts that restore your profound sense of control, your agency over your own life, your own moments. These are acts that serve as gentle yet powerful reminders that each and every day, from its quiet dawn to its peaceful dusk, can have a clear, chosen center, a deliberate rhythm, a powerful personal purpose crafted by you. Picture this for a moment in your mind's eye. You awaken one morning, and instead of instinctively reaching for your phone, driven by a lingering habit to see if anyone has messaged you, if there's an external demand waiting, you choose consciously to sit quietly, serenely, with a warm cup of fragrant tea cradled gently in your hands. There's no rush, no frantic need to please anyone, no external schedule dictating your pace. Just you, your steady breath, and the profound chance to begin the day with an act that belongs entirely, uniquely to you. It is an offering to yourself. Then you might choose to step outside for a gentle, deliberate walk, not because there's something urgent to do, a destination to reach, but because you consciously choose to feel your body move, to truly feel your feet connecting with the earth beneath them, to look up at the vast, embracing sky, to notice the subtle changes in light, in air, to observe time gently passing like a delicate flower, slowly, exquisitely opening its petals to the sun. And just like that, what could have been another ordinary, unremarkable day, indistinguishable from the last, becomes a deeply rooted, profoundly meaningful one. Because that, in its essence, is what a ritual truly is. an action repeated with profound awareness, with deep personal meaning, with conscious, unwavering presence. It is a deliberate anchoring in the now. The insidious trap, the pervasive lie that has perhaps held you captive for far too long, is believing that if no one physically sees what you are doing, if your efforts are unwitnessed, then it simply doesn't matter, that it holds no value. But that belief has misled you, leading you down a path of external validation. For too long, perhaps, you have lived to be seen, to be approved of, to justify your very existence through your usefulness to others or through the constant presence of companionship. And now, when no one is asking anything of you, when the external demands cease and the audience has dispersed, you might feel lost, adrift, unmoored from your sense of purpose. But that, precisely, is where your true, boundless freedom can truly begin. Because now, finally, you possess the autonomy, the unparalleled opportunity to build a life that doesn't revolve around what others expect of you, what society dictates, but profoundly, beautifully, around what you choose to honor, what resonates with your deepest values, what brings genuine peace to your soul. The problem, the hidden danger, is this: if you do not consciously, proactively create your own sacred grounding rituals, empty, hollow routine will inevitably take over. And routine without meaning, without soul, without purpose, is an invisible, suffocating prison. It doesn't kill you all at once in a dramatic, liberating gesture, but it slowly, relentlessly dims your inner light, suffocating your spirit. Every day begins to feel monotonously the same, a blurred succession of moments. Every moment feels utterly pointless, devoid of joy or significance. And little by little, insidiously, subtly, you stop feeling that your life has any intrinsic worth, any inherent value beyond its mere continuation. Don't be fooled. The frustration, the deep, gnawing emptiness you feel isn't just from being alone. It stems, more accurately, from not knowing what to truly do with your time, from looking back at your days and not finding anything that truly felt like yours, genuinely yours, a reflection of your own conscious choice. It comes from filling your precious days with lifeless tasks, devoid of soul, without direction, without the guiding light of purpose. That is why you need to actively, intentionally build something profoundly different. Something that doesn't depend on someone visiting or calling, on external validation or intermittent connections. Something you can do reliably each and every day as a sacred, personal act, a testament to your own commitment to yourself. Whether it's reading a book that nourishes your mind, writing in a journal that brings clarity to your thoughts, engaging in prayer or meditation that connects you to something larger than yourself, taking a mindful walk that reconnects you to the earth, or cooking with deep intention, transforming simple ingredients into a nourishing meal, whatever it is that resonates with your spirit. But with one crucial, non-negotiable condition: do it with presence, with purpose, with the unshakable certainty that even the smallest act performed with awareness can be a profound expression of self-respect. Because if you don't, if you keep letting your days repeat like fleeting shadows, indistinguishable one from the other, there will come a time when even you won't know where your vibrant life truly went, where the moments evaporated. And that, dear friends, is far more painful than any loneliness. That is the tragic forgetting of yourself, the dissolution of your own being. That is losing the inner voice, the authentic self you worked so diligently, so bravely to reclaim. So do it. Begin today. Create a small altar, symbolic or real, a dedicated space where each day you humbly remind yourself that you are vibrantly alive, that you deserve clear direction, and that you do not need an external audience, a grand stage, or a chorus of applause to live with profound, authentic purpose. Because if you don't consciously choose the meaning of your days, if you don't imbue them with your own chosen significance, someone else, or the vast, indifferent emptiness itself, will inevitably choose it for you, dictating your experience. And you, dear soul, were not born to be a passive spectator in your own life. You were born to live fully, vibrantly, authentically, even if no one claps, even if no one sees it. Even if only you, in your deepest heart, know that each morning something profoundly sacred is patiently waiting for you, in the simple yet powerful form of a chosen act, repeated with unwavering intention. That, my friends, is what it means to truly live, to truly be present, and that, profoundly, is still yours to claim, fully and unequivocally. Chapter 7. Affirming inherent worth beyond external validation. If you've journeyed with me through these profound insights, if you've absorbed the truth that every daily gesture, consciously performed, can indeed transform into a powerful ritual of presence, then you are ready for the culmination. But there is something deeper, something more fundamentally challenging that we absolutely need to face, unflinchingly, without hesitation. Because no matter how many routines you bravely change, how many healthy boundaries you diligently set in your relationships, or how deeply you reconnect with your body as a sacred vessel, none of these vital steps will truly hold, will truly provide enduring peace if you don't fully understand and embrace a profound, often uncomfortable truth that many stubbornly refuse to accept. No one is coming to miraculously give back what you lost. And no one, absolutely no one, can bestow upon you the inherent worth you don't first recognize and courageously affirm within yourself. This is the ultimate liberation, the final frontier of self-mastery. We've now reached the seventh and perhaps the most challenging, yet undeniably the most transformative point in this entire journey, the one that asks the most of your inner strength, your most profound courage to embrace. Affirm with unwavering conviction that your worth does not decrease, does not diminish, does not waver simply because others are absent from your life. It is an uncomfortable idea, a jarring truth, because we live, from the moment we are born, under the pervasive, insidious illusion that our value, our very significance, is meticulously measured by who loves us, by the intricate web of relationships surrounding us, by the constant stream of attention and validation we receive from the external world. We are taught to derive our sense of self from reflections in the eyes of others. But the truth, dear friends, is dramatically different, far more resilient, far more liberating. Consider this. There are countless people perpetually surrounded by family, by friends, by a constant clamor of human interaction, who still feel a profound, aching emptiness, a deep sense of unworthiness despite their outward connections. And conversely, there are others, seemingly completely alone in the world, who walk with an undeniable, quiet dignity, with an unshakable sense of purpose, precisely because they have learned, through profound self-work, not to depend on the emotional scraps, the intermittent attention, the conditional affection the world sometimes carelessly throws around. Their worth is an internal flame, not an external mirror. Think deeply about this for a moment and allow the question to resonate within you. How many times in these quiet days have you felt like you mattered less, that your light had dimmed, simply because no one was reaching out, no one was checking in? Because the phone didn't ring with familiar voices, because your children, now adults with their own lives, are far away, or your cherished friends have quietly, sadly, faded from your immediate circle. How many times have you, in moments of vulnerability, whispered to yourself that you're no longer useful, no longer important, that there's simply no meaningful place for you anymore in this bustling, youth-centric world? That insidious narrative, my friends, is slow, corrosive poison. It seeps into the deepest crevices of your mind like a constant, debilitating whisper, a self-defeating mantra. And if you don't confront it head-on, with fierce resolve and unwavering clarity, it will inexorably shape your very identity, twisting your perception of self until you become what you fear. But hear this truth unequivocally, profoundly. You are not what you lack. You are not defined by absence. You are fundamentally what you choose to do with what you possess. Your resilience, your wisdom, your courage. You are not absence. You are the powerful, undeniable presence you decide to be, even in the deepest silence, even when the world is quiet around you. And that choice, that sacred, empowering choice, cannot be delegated, cannot be delayed, and cannot be expected from others. It is uniquely and entirely yours, right now, in this moment. Real transformation, profound, life-altering transformation, begins when you courageously stop looking for outside justification for what you feel, for your very existence. It truly begins when you realize, with a sudden, liberating clarity, that what hurts isn't just what happened in the past, the perceived rejections or losses, but what you consciously choose to relive every single day through your thoughts, your actions, your self-limiting excuses, your internal narratives of victimhood. Stoicism, in its unyielding integrity, does not offer cheap comfort, does not offer platitudes or easy fixes. It offers unvarnished, empowering truth. And the truth, profound and liberating, is this: if you are passively waiting for someone else to miraculously restore your worth, to validate your being, you will be waiting forever. Their validation is not the source, it is merely a reflection. But if you bravely, decisively choose to affirm it yourself, from the deepest core of your being, even if your voice trembles with uncertainty, even if no one else notices your internal declaration, then you begin walking from a dramatically different place, from an unshakable foundation. You move from a centered core that does not break with abandonment or cruel indifference. A powerful internal center that quietly yet firmly declares, I am here, I am whole, and my worth does not depend on who stays or who leaves. It is inherent. Perhaps the world, in its vast indifference, will not magically return what you so generously gave, what you poured out without reservation. Perhaps no one, no external force will ever truly fix what caused you such profound pain, what broke your heart. But you, dear one, possess the ultimate power. You can choose not to live your precious, remaining life perpetually waiting for emotional justice, for belated recognition, from people who simply couldn't or wouldn't truly see you, who were incapable of valuing your immense spirit. You can bravely, decisively break the cycle of expectation and disappointment. You can look at your life story, your unique journey, with unwavering resolve and powerfully declare with every fiber of your being, I no longer define myself by others' presence or absence, but by my own profound awareness, my own internal truth, my own unwavering dignity. That is not resignation. a surrender to fate. It is raw, undeniable power. It is the ultimate liberation, and that power, at this venerable stage of life, with the richness of your lived experience, can be more profoundly transformative than any external gesture, any grand accolade, any fleeting acknowledgement from the outside world. Because there is nothing, absolutely nothing, more profoundly revolutionary, more deeply inspiring than a woman or a man who no longer needs to be named by others, to be labeled or defined, to know intrinsically that she exists, that he is real. Who doesn't passively wait to be seen by an external gaze, to choose her inherent dignity, to live by her own values. Who doesn't beg for fleeting company to remember her immeasurable worth. That woman, that man, even if they walk physically alone, are never, ever truly empty. Because they have profoundly filled their soul, their inner sanctuary, with the one presence that will never, ever leave them, that will never betray or abandon them. Their own. It is an eternal wellspring of peace and purpose. The unbreakable core, your worth beyond absence. If you've journeyed with me this far, allowing these truths to settle within your soul, you already profoundly comprehend that every daily gesture, consciously performed, every mindful act, can indeed transform into a powerful, grounding ritual of presence. You understand that meaning isn't just found in grand pursuits, but in the quiet, intentional shaping of your moments. But now, we stand at the precipice of something deeper, something far more challenging, yet ultimately the most liberating truth we need to face, unflinchingly, without hesitation. Because no matter how many routines you bravely change, how many healthy boundaries you diligently set in your relationships, or how deeply you reconnect with your body as a sacred vessel, none of these vital, foundational steps will truly hold, will truly provide enduring peace and unwavering strength if you don't fully understand and courageously embrace a profound, often uncomfortable truth that many, by habit or fear, stubbornly refuse to accept. No one is coming to miraculously give back what you lost, and no one, absolutely no one, can bestow upon you the inherent worth you don't first recognize, acknowledge, and courageously affirm within yourself. This is not a message of despair, but one of ultimate empowerment, the final frontier of self-mastery. We've now reached the seventh and perhaps the most challenging, yet undeniably the most transformative point in this entire journey, the one that demands the most of your inner strength, your most profound courage to embrace. It is the core message, the very heart of our conversation. Affirm with unwavering conviction that your intrinsic worth does not, cannot, and will not decrease, does not diminish, does not waver, simply because others are absent from your life or because their attention has shifted elsewhere. This is an uncomfortable idea, a jarring truth, because we are conditioned from the earliest moments of our lives to live under the pervasive, insidious illusion that our value, our very significance, is meticulously measured by who loves us, by the intricate web of relationships surrounding us, by the constant stream of external attention and validation we receive from the outside world. We are taught to derive our sense of self, our identity, from reflections in the eyes of others, from their words of praise or their gestures of need. But the truth, dear friends, is dramatically different, far more resilient, far more liberating than this societal construct. Consider this deeply. There are countless people perpetually surrounded by family, by friends, by a constant clamor of human interaction, who still feel a profound, aching emptiness, a deep sense of unworthiness despite their outward connections. Their inner world remains hollow. And conversely, there are others, seemingly completely alone in the world, living in quietude, who walk with an undeniable quiet dignity, with an unshakable sense of purpose, precisely because they have learned, through profound self-work, not to depend on the emotional scraps, the intermittent attention, the conditional affection the world sometimes carelessly throws around. Their worth is an internal flame, a blazing, self-sustaining fire that needs no external fuel. It is not a fragile reflection in an external mirror that can be shattered. Think deeply about this for a moment and allow the question to resonate within you. How many times in these quiet days have you felt like you mattered less, that your light had dimmed, simply because no one was reaching out? No one was checking in. Because the phone remained silent, stubbornly refusing to ring with familiar voices, or because your children, now adults with their own vibrant lives, are far away, absorbed in their own journeys, or your cherished friends have quietly, sadly, faded from your immediate circle. How many times have you, in moments of vulnerability, whispered to yourself that you're no longer useful, no longer important, that there's simply no meaningful place for you anymore in this bustling, youth-centric world? That insidious narrative, my friends, is slow, corrosive poison. It seeps into the deepest crevices of your mind like a constant, debilitating whisper, a self-defeating mantra. And if you don't confront it head-on, with fierce resolve and unwavering clarity, it will inexorably shape your very identity, twisting your perception of self until you tragically become what you fear, a shadow of your true potential. But hear this truth unequivocally, profoundly, for it is the key to your liberation. You are not what you lack. You are not defined by absence, by what has departed from your life. You are, fundamentally, what you choose to do with what you possess. Your inherent resilience, your accumulated wisdom, your boundless courage, your capacity for profound internal peace. You are not absence. You are the powerful, undeniable presence you decide to be, even in the deepest silence, even when the world outside is quiet around you. And that choice, that sacred, empowering choice, cannot be delegated to others, cannot be delayed until circumstances change, and cannot be expected to manifest from external sources. It is uniquely and entirely yours right now, in this moment, waiting for your courageous affirmation. Real transformation, profound, life-altering transformation, begins when you courageously stop looking for outside justification for what you feel, for your very existence, for your worth. It truly begins when you realize, with a sudden, liberating clarity, that what truly hurts isn't just what happened in the past, the perceived rejections, the deep losses, the unfulfilled expectations, but what you consciously choose to relive every single day through your thoughts, your actions, your self-limiting excuses, your internal narratives of victimhood. Stoicism, in its unyielding integrity, does not offer cheap comfort, does not offer saccharine platitudes or easy fixes. It offers unvarnished, empowering truth. And the truth, profound and liberating, is this: if you are passively waiting for someone else to miraculously restore your worth, to validate your being, you will be waiting forever. Their validation is not the source of your light. It is merely a fleeting reflection. But if you bravely, Decisively choose to affirm it yourself from the deepest core of your being, even if your voice trembles with uncertainty, even if no one else notices your internal declaration. Then you begin walking from a dramatically different place, from an unshakable foundation. You move from a centered core that does not break with abandonment or cruel indifference. A powerful internal center that quietly yet firmly declares, "I am here, I am whole, I am complete, and my worth does not depend on who stays or who leaves." It is inherent, it is unyielding. Perhaps the world, in its vast indifference, will not magically return what you so generously gave, what you poured out without reservation, what you sacrificed. Perhaps no one, no external force, will ever truly fix what caused you such profound pain, what broke your heart, what left you feeling hollow. But you, dear one, possess the ultimate power. You can choose not to live your precious, remaining life, perpetually waiting for emotional justice, for belated recognition from people who simply couldn't or wouldn't truly see you, who were incapable of valuing your immense spirit. You can bravely, decisively break the cycle of expectation and disappointment, of hoping for external validation. You can look at your life story, your unique journey, with unwavering resolve and powerfully declare with every fiber of your being, "I no longer define myself by others' presence or absence, by their opinions or their needs, but by my own profound awareness, my own internal truth, my own unwavering dignity." That is not resignation, a surrender to fate. It is raw, undeniable power. It is ultimate liberation, a complete reclaiming of your sovereign self. And that power, at this venerable stage of life, with the richness of your lived experience, with the wisdom you have painstakingly accumulated, can be more profoundly transformative than any external gesture, any grand accolade, any fleeting acknowledgement from the outside world. Because there is nothing, absolutely nothing, more profoundly revolutionary, more deeply inspiring than a woman or a man who no longer needs to be named by others, to be labeled or defined, to be needed, to know intrinsically that she exists, that he is real. Who doesn't passively wait to be seen by an external gaze, to choose her inherent dignity, to live by her own values. Who doesn't beg for fleeting company to remember her immeasurable worth. That woman, that man, even if they walk physically alone, are never, ever truly empty. Because they have profoundly filled their soul, their inner sanctuary, with the one presence that will never, ever leave them, that will never betray or abandon them, their own. It is an eternal wellspring of peace, purpose, and unshakable worth. Conclusion: the quiet strength of self-possession. We have journeyed together, haven't we, through the often challenging yet ultimately liberating landscape of self-reclamation. We began by bravely confronting the profound silence that can descend upon our lives in later years, not as a punishment, but as a doorway to an intimate encounter with our truest selves. We then explored the critical need to rewrite our narrative of self-worth, shedding the external validations that once defined us and embracing an internal dignity that is unshakable, independent of others' presence or absence. We moved from passive waiting to active creation, understanding that purposeful action, no matter how small, imbues our days with profound meaning. We then turned our attention inward, recognizing the sacred importance of honoring our bodies as the vessels of our unique experience, treating them with the respect they inherently deserve. We bravely distinguished between genuine companionship and insidious emotional drains, learning to protect our precious energy and prioritize reciprocal connections. And finally, we arrived at the profound understanding that our inherent worth is not granted by others, but courageously affirmed from within, a truth that liberates us from the endless pursuit of external validation. As we bring this conversation to a close, I want to offer you not a simplistic assurance that life's challenges will magically disappear or that loneliness will vanish overnight. That would be disingenuous, and Stoicism, at its core, is about confronting reality, not escaping it. Instead, I offer you a deeper, more profound truth. The truest, most enduring peace you will ever know, the most profound sense of purpose you will ever experience, and the most unshakable happiness you will ever find are all cultivated carefully and consciously within the quiet sanctuary of your own being. They do not reside in the approval of others, in the constant presence of companionship, or in the ceaseless demands of external roles. No. They reside within you, patiently waiting to be nurtured, to be awakened, to be embraced. Consider this as a final, powerful image. Imagine a majestic, ancient tree standing alone on a vast open plain. It is no longer surrounded by a dense forest, its towering companions long gone. The winds may whip around it, the seasons may change with fierce intensity, and no other tree stands nearby to offer shelter or companionship. Yet this tree stands tall, its roots digging deep into the earth, its branches reaching defiantly towards the sky. Its strength is not derived from its surroundings, but from its inherent resilience, from its profound connection to its own root system, to its very essence. It is beautiful not because others see it, but because it stands in its own quiet power. You too are that tree. Your strength, your wisdom, your inherent worth, they are not dependent on the fleeting presence or absence of others. They are yours, unwavering and eternal. This is what it means to be self-possessed in the truest, most dignified sense. To possess your own soul, to own your own narrative, to direct your own days with intention and grace, even when the external world is silent. This journey inward, though often challenging, is the most profound and rewarding one you will ever embark upon. It is the path to a strength that no one can take from you, a peace that no external circumstance can shatter, and a happiness that truly springs from within. You are not alone, even in solitude, for you are always profoundly with yourself. And that, dear friend, is enough. That is more than enough. As we reach the end of this shared journey, remember, the wisdom we've explored today is not merely theoretical. It's a living, breathing guide for building a life of profound peace and unwavering strength. The path to self-possession, to truly understanding your inherent worth, is an ongoing one. It's a continuous process of learning, reflection, and courageous action. If these insights have resonated with you, if they've sparked a sense of recognition or ignited a quiet resolve within your heart, I invite you to delve deeper. This video is just one step on a much larger journey of discovery. The Stoic Philosophy YouTube channel is dedicated to providing you with more timeless wisdom, practical tools, and profound perspectives to help you navigate life's challenges with grace and fortitude. So, if you're ready to continue building that inner sanctuary, to fortify your mind, and to cultivate enduring happiness regardless of external circumstances, please explore the other videos on our channel. You'll find a wealth of resources designed to empower your spirit and bring greater clarity to your days. And to ensure you don't miss any of our future releases, videos crafted to help your mind become stronger, more peaceful, and truly happy, I encourage you to subscribe to the Stoic Philosophy channel and turn on notifications. By doing so, you'll join a community of like-minded individuals committed to living a life of purpose and resilience. Thank you deeply for investing your precious time with me today, for opening your mind and heart to these ancient yet ever-relevant truths. May you carry the quiet strength of this wisdom into every moment of your life, finding profound peace in your self-possession and unwavering purpose in your daily choices. I wish you all the very best on your continued journey towards a life of profound meaning and tranquil happiness.
Thank you for watching this video here on the Stoic Philosophy. If you found value in this, I invite you to explore more videos on the channel. There's so much more wisdom to uncover. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next one. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.